Okay, this was going to be my first video. Uh, Please excuse the Spartan nature of my channel. Um, I wanted to go ahead and get this one out there, even if I wasn't quite ready, because came across this article yesterday and I wanted to go ahead and get into it. Um, so as you can see here, it's from Games Radar. The title: The Halo TV series is braver than the games. The Paramount Plus series isn't shying away from Halo's dark truths. Going on to the article itself. The Halo TV series is going where no Halo game has gone before. From the premiere, it's clear that this is not going to be your run-of-the-mill Master Chief versus the Covenant story. Those evil aliens may appear midway through the opening scene, but they come off as less villainous than the humans, specifically the classically heroic UNSC, the military branch of the United Earth government the Master Chief works for. Well, first, don't end your sentence in a preposition, but also, how are they less villainous? The Covenant literally come into a colony outpost and kill over 100 people, whereas the Spartans are sent in to defend them by the UNSC. They just happen to arrive a little bit too late and only save one person. Going on, the Paramount Plus series has delivered a Halo story that we've never seen in the games, and we're only one episode in. The truth behind one of the most iconic video game characters of all time, the creation and subsequent subjugation, has been brought to light. And as a result, the Halo TV series is telling a much more important story than any of the games have yet. Well, the importance of the story, I'd argue the games are objectively more important simply because without the games having been told in the first place, we wouldn't be having this TV series at all right now and the chance for you people to hijack this story. Um, Going on down, if you've played the Halo games, you're familiar with the UNSC. They are the good guys, or at least so they seem. Start reading the franchise's lore books, however, and you'll discover that the Intergalactic Military Force controls nearly 800 planets, many of which believe the United Earth Government, or UEG, are stripping them of their natural resources. Because of this, the planets want independence. Known as insurrectionists, these humans are painted by the UNSC propaganda as freeloaders who don't want to contribute to the common cause. Well, as far as contributing to the common cause and being freeloaders, did the insurrectionists foot the bill for their own trip out to these colonies? Did they pay for and build everything, like the infrastructure on these planets? They didn't just arrive to a fully functional colony that already had buildings and water and power. I'm sure likely the UEG and the UNSC are the ones who paid for and built these places because due to the expanding population of humanity, they needed additional resources. So they went and claimed these planets so that they could extract those resources. And it's probably understood that if you're going to go out to these colonies, you're going to be working to get those resources for the UNSC, and you'll have a little bit more freedom and less oversight, but you know, pay up. The Halo TV series opens with insurrectionists on the planet Madrigal, and we quickly learn just how little they think of the UNSC. Violence has clearly broken out between these rebels and the government before, as several people sitting at a card table discuss whether they've ever fought a Spartan. Yes, the Spartans, those iconic armored heroes, were not created to fight the Covenant, but cooked up in a lab by government employed scientists to help quell rebellions with violence. For the insurrectionists, the Spartans are not the protectors, they are the aggressors. While this is canon in the Halo games, the series has never really asked us to reckon with these facts, instead painting the Master Chief and other Spartans as shields that defend humanity against alien attacks. Well, they literally do address this in the opening cutscene of Halo 4 with the man interrogating Halsey. He's refuting her when Halsey says that when the Covenant attacked, her Spartans were ready, which is actually true, but he says that she's changing history to fit her story. Which, she did create them to fight insurrectionists because she viewed it as she had seen studies and data to indicate that if humanity kept on their current course, that they would end up destroying themselves. So she created the Spartans as a more surgical and precise force that could go and quell rebellion without the need for open, large-scale warfare. I can't actually help but marvel at this cutscene. It almost predicts what's actually happening now, with Halsey skeptical of her interrogator because he seems to have an ulterior motive with regards to Master Chief and the results of Halsey's objectionable actions in the first place. It's kind of like we're almost where we are today with people taking steps to deconstruct and tear down this beloved and iconic hero. The Halo TV series lets you know from the jump that the Spartans are walking human rights violations. It's a drastically different tone from the games and one that has important implications in the wake of the summer 2020 of the summer of 2020, where protests against police brutality in America were met with increasingly militarized police. That the character we're supposed to latch onto as an audience is an original creation, Quan Ha, daughter of insurrectionist leader who Unsc decides to assassinate because of the political threat she poses, says a lot about the tone of the series. Yeah, it says a lot that the original character that no one cares about is the main focus of the show. You're right, that does say a lot about the show. Bringing in the summer of 2020 is also just ridiculous. You can't really draw this parallel, they're not really related. And frankly, most gamers don't want real world politics in their games. They play these games generally to escape from the real world politics. And the story beat about assassinating Quan Ha, they're, they decide to do this because she is literally going to lie about what happened, saying that the Spartans came in and killed everyone instead of the covenant that she didn't even know existed before now. Granted, there's a little bit of a lack of empathy if for these people to ask her to, like, hey, help us make a propaganda video like 5 minutes after all your friends and family died. But the fact that she's going to lie about this is also just a little bit absurd. She should basically be in shock right now from seeing all of her friends and family die, and not only that, but realizing that aliens exist and are waging war against her people. She's going to do more harm than good. They view it that way. That's their calculation, so they're going to assassinate her. Uh, sorry that that grates against your moral standard. Um, Moving along to in the article here, the Halo TV series is also unabashedly humanizing Master Chief 117, aka John, rejecting the masked monosyllabic super soldier the games have put on a pedestal. So Master Chief 117, no, I don't think this person even knows the lore that they themselves espouse to know, outside of, say, Googling. It's John 117. His rank is the Master Chief, and he's iconically known as Master Chief mainly because in the games it was thought that he was the sole surviving Spartan 2, and he became a legendary and inspiring icon to humanity from his feats of heroism. The series literally strips away his armor. Cleverly, the series introduces John in a way that resonates with fans of the game, blowing Covenant heads off in all his Mjolnir armored glory. However, when he interacts with an unknown Covenant artifact, triggering long forgotten memories, the godlike Master Chief is brought back down to a human level. From the moment John touches the artifact, the Halo series establishes a heartbreaking narrative. This man is a puppet of the Unsc, a lab project poked and prodded, and controlled and monitored by people who want to let him loose on protesters and unarmed women. This is absurd. They don't want to let him loose on protesters and unarmed women. They want to let him loose on insurrectionist leaders so that they can cut the head off the snake and get these people back in line. I know that that grates against people's morality. I love freedom and independence also. This is not the real world. This is the 500-year distant future where humanity is much different. They're currently embroiled in an alien war that they're going to lose without the Spartans, and even even before that, the Insurrectionist War. Like I said, Halsey had seen studies and data to suggest that that was going to end humanity. So let's not quibble over, you know, why we're going to be saved. Let's get through it, and then we can, have some human rights tribunal, where we assess and punish people accordingly if that's what we need to do. He has no memory of a life before this one, no understanding of what brought him here, yet those of us who know our Halo lore know the truth. Again, I don't think this person knows the Halo lore, frankly, but he was kidnapped at 6 years old along with 74 other children, identified by Dr. Catherine Halsey as a prime physical and mental candidate for her Spartan 2 program. He was replaced by a flash clone, a purposefully imperfect clone of himself that would develop neurological conditions and die within weeks. The Halo TV series is clearly going to unpack this horrible origin story. After touching the artifact, John begins to have random flashes of audiovisual hallucinations, which Halsey confirms are his memories. John is learning who he once was and questioning who he is, a breakthrough prompted not only by the artifact but by Quan Ha, with whom he has a terse back and forth with about the Order's authority and propaganda. Um, Of course, Kwan Ha is the one to prompt this because she is, of course, the morally righteous character of this series. She's going to teach us all great lessons, and despite the fact that in the beginning of the episode she's going to get high with her friends, shirking her responsibilities, out, gallivanting around, searching for drugs, um, and she's also going to lie about her saviors, who she should feel at least some sense of gratitude toward. She's leveraging this lie to get what she wants. So she's not morally righteous either. Removing his helmet is just a mistake, like the entire show, really. He does it when she's pointing a gun at him, and he would just never do this, and he would never do it at all in the games. Like, he just doesn't take his helmet off unless he needs to. Um, but he also, I feel like in the context of this show, he exhibits so little social skill that he wouldn't even think to do this to enlist her help. Like, he's trying to gain her trust so that she doesn't shoot him and that they help each other and get away. He wouldn't even think of this. He has no social skills in this show. He has no memories, and he acts like a robot. So this is just unbelievable to begin with. This article basically just exemplifies what's wrong with this whole series. People who likely aren't even really fans or familiar with the games at all are hijacking yet another iconic and beloved series so that they can tear it down. They can tear down another white male character that they see as problematic. The creators of the show, they're doing the same. They're the same way. They didn't even look at the lore when they were making this series. Instead, they just wanted to tell the story that they wanted to tell, and they used Halo as a convenient set dressing so that they could draw in a pre-built audience. Um, we've seen this time and again, and I'm sure we'll see it more. If you did like what you saw here, please rumble, like, share, subscribe. Um, I will try to improve the quality of my videos going forward, and let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.